everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Study with Soumya. I hope that you all are absolutely fine. Well, first of all, if you are new to this channel or if you haven't subscribed this channel till now, make sure to subscribe. This channel is going to be very helpful for you, right? Well, many of you has requested many times to upload interview experience video on the channel itself. So that's why with that note, today we have Rishabh with us and he has got selected in 6 amazing companies. So he'll be sharing his interview experience in this video. Make sure to watch the video till the end, and this video will definitely help you that what strategy you can follow to prepare for these companies, what is the prerequisite CP is needed or not, what is the level of data structure is needed, everything we are going to cover in depth in this video. So make sure to watch the complete video. Other than this, that you know that our channel has collaborated with Geeks for Geeks. So use the coupon code Study with Soumya. Every character should be in capital and get 10% discount on Geeks for Geeks courses. Happy learning, guys. So now let's welcome Rishabh. So hi Rishabh. First of all, heartiest congratulations from my side for getting selected in 6 amazing company, and thank you so much for being there today at our YouTube channel. So it's our pleasure to have you here. So guys, now I'm giving the floor to Rishabh and he'll be introducing himself.
Yeah, hi. So my name is Rishabh and I study at Delhi Technological University, like a computer engineering branch. So currently I'm working as a software engineer at Zeta, which is a part of DirectEye. And that's pretty much it about me.
So guys, as I already mentioned that he has got selected in 6 amazing companies. So Rishabh, can you please name them?
Yeah, sure. So one is the where I'm working, it's Zeta. Other ones, so yeah, Wells Fargo, 8fold.ai, Takeon Corp, uh, and Disney Plus Hotstar, and yeah, that's it.
Okay, so Rishabh, first of all, I would like to ask that generally the students have doubt regarding programming. As I can see that you have been selected in these amazing companies, and obviously data structure and competitive programming is an essential part for these companies. So generally, what happened when we get into the college? First year is like we are enjoying and doing extracurricular activities. So what was the case with you? Like you have started programming from the first year itself, or like in which year you started?
Yeah, so I had no experience prior to joining the college about programming. In the first year, I was just exploring. Like I had no experience in coding, so I was just asking a few seniors like where to begin and all such stuff. Then somehow I joined after the end of the first year. Like I joined a coaching which taught me data structures and algorithms. Enjoy solving coding problems a lot. Then I moved on to competitive programming. So I purchased a course for competitive programming from that coaching as well. And then I then moved on to websites like CodeChef and then Code Forces, and then started improving as much as I could. So yeah, pretty much it's about developing an interest in competitive programming. And
So
yeah,
you
I did
started all this in second year, right?
at the beginning of the second year. Yeah.
Okay. So, if suppose like someone is just starting in the programming field, and so which platform would you recommend that which platform he should go with?
Initially, when you're starting with competitive programming, or just the programming, like, are you asking about competitive programming or just normal programming and stuff?
Normal programming, like some sort of data structure he and she is aware of. Now she want to practice. So, what platform you would recommend?
In my opinion, Geeks for Geeks and Lead Code are pretty good for practicing very basic problems of data structures and algorithms. So I think that will be good. To practice advanced problems, you can move on to competitive programming websites like Codeforces. Codeforces is a must-have website for every competitive programmer. So yeah, it's like in levels. Like first solve smaller problems from Geeks for Geeks, Lead Code, etc., and then move on to competitive programming on platforms like Codeforces. And I think Codeforces is the most recommended platform for computer programming. So I think that will be more than enough for anyone who wants to do good in computer programming.
Yeah, so what I've heard from most of the seniors of mine and like some of the employees of some great companies that they used to say that sometimes DSA can help us to get into good product based companies. So what's your opinion on that? Like competitive programming is really that important? Like there is some companies that can get you in if you are good at data structure part, or like both you should be good at?
So competitive programming is not the requirement for any company. It's they just require you to be good at data structures and algorithm. Competitive programming is something that you do out of interest, right? So if you are doing good at data structures and algorithms, if you enjoy solving coding problems a lot, then you can move on to doing better stuff in competitive programming. But otherwise, you can just be as good with websites like LeetCode or Geeks for Geeks, Interview, etc. Like you can practice problems from there, and just do as good in the companies as you can do by doing good in competitive programming, because the questions asked in companies are not of very high level usually, except a few companies where competitive programming is useful, like in case of Google or even DirectType. But otherwise, Lead Code, Geeks for Geeks, Interview Bit are just as good platform for preparation of interviews. uh, Computer programming is something that you do on your interest, right? So in my opinion, it's not necessity, but it's a good thing to have.
So what happens is, like, even I have faced the same thing when you started programming. Like, you were just starting, you chose a particular platform, you are solving problems. So what happened that you are not able to come up with a thought process that okay, what solution should be there. So sometimes it's kind of frustrating. So what you would like to say on that part, like, uh, do we see the solution or anything is there? Do we give the time to that particular question to think that if some particular solution can work? What should we do to build up that thought process?
So, like I will tell you what I usually did at the beginning. So, I usually gave a lot of time on one problem. Like I could have given around half hour to 1 hour on a single problem, and then even then, if I couldn't get the solution, then I just saw the actual solution code and understood it completely, and implemented it myself, and just just made it up in my mind that I will be able to, next time I get the same problem, I'll be able to solve it on my own. So yeah, so if you are unable to solve the problem after, even after giving ample amount of time, you should definitely look into the solution and try to understand it completely, so that next time when the problem comes, you are able to solve it on your own. So yeah, don't spend a lot of time on just a single problem like a day or two, because that will only waste your time. But if you are watching the solution, if you're watching a video or the code, then try to implement it yourself, so that the concept is clear in your mind, and next time whenever the problem comes, or even a problem related to that particular problem comes, you're able to solve it on your own. So I think in that case you will gain the 100% knowledge of that problem.
Okay. Now the next question is that, like, I usually get comments from the student side that okay, how much question I should practice for a specific company, or so. What do you want to say on this? The number of questions that we are going to solve that really matters, or the concepts that really matter? Because what I've seen is students is behind solving as many questions as possible, 500 questions, 600. So do you think that number of questions that you are solving that really matters?
Uh, in my opinion, the answer is somewhere between yes or no, because usually in companies, they have a fixed pattern of questions. They usually pick questions from websites like LeetCode, Geeks for Geeks, Interview Bit. Like usually they don't spend a lot of time in making new questions, except a few companies. Like I have seen in most of the companies, the questions that are being asked are usually available on online platforms. So if you're solving more and more problems, then if the question comes in your interview, and if it matches with the question that you had solved, then it will be really good for you. But yeah, that also eradicates the fact that you're not applying your brain to solve that problem during the interview time. So it kind of then depends on the interviewer. Like sometimes the interviewer may pick that already know the solution, and he may change the question, or he may give you a negative feedback as well. But at times the interviewer may not be able to understand that you already knew the solution, and you can just excel in that interview. So in my opinion, solving as many problems as possible is definitely beneficial for coding interviews. But also try to figure out how you're going to give the interview in such a manner that the interviewer is unable to understand that you didn't know
Already
the
do
solution
that.
as well. Start from the basic, and uh, then move on to the actual solution, rather than just showing that you knew the entire solution uh, beforehand. Yeah, something like that.
Okay, so on that part, I do agree with you because obviously that will some sort of invest the interviewer time as well. So he won't be asking too many questions from you because directly, if you are telling him an optimized solution, then somewhere it can be a problem for you. Okay, so okay, on that part, the companies in which you are selected. So was this like it was on campus or off campus for you?
So one company, Wells Fargo, was on campus. In my college, usually when you get a one on campus offer, or in many of the colleges, like after getting one on campus offer, you can't set for other companies. So yeah, probably that was the case in my college as well. And after that, I got all the offers off campus.
So you just applied to their career portal, or you got some sort of referral? What it was in your case?
So it was a mixture of everything, like applying on careers portal is definitely one of the most crucial things that people have to do. But yeah, before applying, you should definitely look to get a referral from any employer. So usually whenever I have to get a referral for a particular company, I would usually look into my contacts, and that whether there's a guy who is from my college who is already working in that company. So because I was from a good college, and many of seniors are already placed in most of the big companies, so I could easily get referrals from my seniors. But in case if my seniors were not available to refer me, I just search for random contacts on LinkedIn and send them requests, and then just ping them a formal message asking for a referral. And usually I was able to procure a referral in like 98% of times, I think. And if I wasn't able to, then I could have applied directly in that case. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
So as you are selected in six companies, so obviously it's not possible to cover all of the interview experience for all these companies. But so if you guys are interested and want to Rishabh share the interview experience of all the companies that he's placed in, then please drop a comment. And in this video, we'll be asking him about his interview experience at Directy and Hotstar. So let's start with the Directy. So what were the rounds and all? Yeah.
Yeah, so the first round was just the coding round. It had three questions, I remember. And I think there was 1 hour 30 minutes to solve the three problems. And I solved all three of them in the specified time. So I moved on to the interview rounds. So there were two rounds of interviews. One was,
Yeah. So
I'm sorry.
as you mentioned
Yeah.
that you were able to solve these three coding problems. So can you please mention that from which topic these problems were, like any particular data structure, like this graph tree or anything?
Uh, uh, as far as I remember, the problems were from dynamic programming and graphs, these
Okay.
two topics only.
So what was the level of difficulty according to you?
It was pretty good. Like if I have to rate it on Code Forces, it would be around like 1800 plus rating problems on Code Forces. So they were particularly competitive programming problems of good level.
Yeah. So in that case, optimization should be required in solving these problems, right?
Yeah, you have to pass all the test cases, so you should definitely go with the most optimal solution, which is under the time constraints. Yeah.
So okay, then let's move to your next round. So what it was?
Yeah, so after that there were two rounds of interviews. First one was purely coding interview, and in that round three coding problems were asked, and I had to just code it live. And I was able to solve all three problems. Then after that I got a call for the next round. It was subjects round, so it was with a very senior position person, or like a tech manager or tech lead kind of person in the company. And he just checked my past experience, and along with that he also looked into my core subjects like operating systems, a DBMS database management system, and computer networks, and a few more subjects I remember. So yeah, that's pretty much it about this round. I think in my opinion I did not answer all the questions. I few questions I just said I haven't studied about it. But overall it was a decent round, and then I got a call for the offer. So yeah, it was
So
pretty much.
in that round, that was covering the core subject of yours. So from where you prepared and like were you really aware of all of them? So first of all, let us know that from where you prepared, like very depth knowledge were required for this particular round for this subject.
Yeah, sure. So I will go subject by subject. So operating systems, I just watched video of Sanchit Jan on YouTube. The same thing that I did for while preparing for college exams of operating system. And for computer networks, I just revised it on Geeks for Geeks. Like there are few problems that are very common, like TCP versus UDP and all such stuff. So I just revised it from Geeks for Geeks. And regarding operating system, object oriented programming, then it's just Balaguru Swami book is pretty good for object oriented programming. And I think these are the course. Oh yeah, DBMS. So DBMS again, I watched a few videos on YouTube, like Gate Smashers and Sanchit Jain only, and I revised all my previous concepts. So yeah, that's it.
So like the interview went for how much time, like half hour or more than that?
It was hour each. The first interview was also of an hour, and the second one was also of an hour.
Okay, so in your previous interview where there were three coding questions, so along with coding those questions, like coding the solutions, you have to explain the approach as well to the interview, right? So it was like you were directly coding some optimized solution, or first you were starting with a brute force solution, then kind of optimizing it.
So the questions that were asked were of, I think, like medium level on lead code, I think. So I just went with the most optimized solution. Like I could understand the question pretty well, and I just coded the most optimized solution. One question I remember was the first question, which required me to think in the direction the interviewer wanted me to think. So initially I went in some other direction which required more space. So then he asked me to optimize the space, and just he wanted a solution of constant space. So yeah, he just guided me into that direction, and I solved it in the way he wanted me to. So he was pretty happy with that.
Okay, that's great. So as you can see, it was all about the Rishabh's experience for Directy, and you can see, obviously, you need a proper knowledge of data structure and computative programming as well. And if you need any kind of, if you are having any kind of query, make sure to drop a comment, and I would ask Rishabh to reply you back so that if any sort of guidance is required. So now let's move to the hottest star. So what were the rounds in the hottest star?
So again, it was first coding test, and after that, there were two coding interviews. And after clearing both the coding interviews, there was one interview with the tech lead who just wanted to know about my past experience, and after that there was an HR round, and then a call for the offer. So in total, four rounds of interviews along with one coding test. Yeah.
Okay, so if you will compare the questions that were there in Hotstar with that of Directly, so which one you would say that okay, that was kind of a very good level when compared to that one?
So in my opinion, the level of problems asked in both the companies were kind of similar. In Hotstar, because there were two rounds of coding interviews, so definitely it was a bit like more difficult to crack. But again, in DirectAI also the level of questions differ on an interviewer to interviewer basis. So some of my friends even got way more difficult questions than I got. So I would say like both the companies ask good questions, but in DirectAI usually the level of questions is pretty high as compared to any other company. So I would rate the questions of DirectAI tougher as compared to Hotstar in the coding interviews. Yeah.
Okay, so you have these many offers, then why you chose Directly only? So what is your like? What is your preferences that what you see basically in a company before joining that? I can see that all the companies in which you are selected that they all are amazing. Then why only Directly you choose? what's the thing that one should see when he or she is having multiple offers to first of all prioritize if joining a particular
Yeah.
company?
Yeah, so definitely like monetary benefits are one thing, but in that aspect also Director exceeds the other companies, and also it has a brand name like since past 10 or 12 years for being a company with a great work culture, with great work, like great learning experience and great people usually work here. Like the people that work here are pretty experienced, and the project and the kind of projects that you get in this company are like are good for your learning and the beginning of your career. So I think everything matched with my expectations in this company, so I went ahead with this offer. And in other companies, like one or two criterias in like either a few criterias, they lagged a bit as compared to Direct Eye. So yeah, Direct Eye seemed a perfect choice for me.
So let's suppose that someone, the student who is planning for these companies, so just get into the college. So what you would recommend for that student, like from what should be the prerequisite, like from where he or she should start? And does it really need it? Like as you mentioned that you have taken a training, so is it really needed? You have to take a paid course, or you can utilize the free resources as well. So what's your opinion on that?
So I think coding is the key to any job offer in today's market. Like when you're applying for software engineering companies, then they look into your coding. In coding, they look into your definitely the knowledge of data structures and algorithms. Along with that, they also look about your coding style. Like do you name variables well? Do you write a code which is clean and good for the company? Like when you are actually working in a company, you are going to write a code, then it should be readable and understandable. They also look into that aspects. So uh, like readable and understandable code is definitely something that you can learn with practice. But before that, you have to clear your concepts of data structures and algorithms. And I think it depends on person to person again, because I thought I was kind of a person who is more into coaching and stuff right from the time of GE. Like I give me some coaching and then I will learn as much as I can from that coaching. But after that, after doing like two courses, one was of DSA and then after competitive programming, I realized that both the things could be covered easily on your own. Like there are many friends who just did as good as me or even better than me without these courses. So I think uh, it definitely will be a bit more difficult if you're not joining a coaching. But again, it will it won't affect your knowledge path, because you can just learn as much as without coaching as much as you can learn with coaching. And you can save a lot of money with by not joining a coaching, by because there are a lot of free resources which provide you just as good knowledge as you get in a coaching. So in my opinion, the best thing to do is to see where you stand. Like if you are that kind of person who requires coaching and guidance to get to where he can, then definitely go for coaching. They're also good. But if you are that kind of person who likes to learn on his or her own, then also you can start with websites like uh, Geeks for Geeks, Code Forces, CodeChef on your own, and then see where you stand. And I think in both the cases you won't be regretting. I think both of them are good, and people who choose either of the two, they have done very good in their career.
Okay, so basically it depends person to person, and also you know that when we are joining any sort of coaching, so things become sort of easy for us because they are giving a structured course plan that we have to follow. And if we are doing this by ourselves, so somewhere this consistency thing lacks behind. Now, one common question that I do get from the students is about language. That which language to choose? Like you know that from 2020, Python is very much in trend, so most of the students are choosing that. And obviously, it's very easy to code in Python. Even sometimes I've also done the same.
like I particularly code in C++ in all of my interviews, and I've never heard of a good company that that does not allow you to code in Python during the interviews. So like I might not be knowing about it, but yeah, regarding C++, I think in every company C++ was allowed. And and I think like in most of the good companies like Google, Facebook, Bloomberg, and big techs like Microsoft, Facebook, anything, like they must be allowing Python. I'm pretty sure about that. And uh, in my opinion, like if you are about to do competitive programming, then C++ is definitely has an edge. Why? Because C++ compiles the code pretty fast, and that really improves your submissions in platforms like Codeforce. Like they usually check for your running time of your code. So C++, because it compiles and runs the code very fast, so it definitely has an edge over any other programming language like Python and Java, because they take a lot of running time. Otherwise, people have done as good with Java. I've seen. I don't know many friends who are into Python, but yeah, people with Java have done just as good as the people with C++, and even better than them, because Java is a language that companies usually prefer while working. Like the backend is completely
Development part.
dependent on your Java. So yeah, so Java is also a good language. I don't have much experience about Python because I haven't seen many people coding in Python. But in my opinion, like big tech companies would not discriminate on the basis of languages.
So like some last questions that I have to ask that okay. So obviously you know that for applying for a company you need one stuff and that is your resume. So what should be the like standard length of your resume and what actually you should mention in your resume that what you have mentioned basically.
Yeah. So resume should be of just one page, first of all. The reason for that is when you're applying for a company, the recruiter has very a little amount of time to go through your resume. They might be just going through your resume for 10 seconds at max. So that's the one single page resume is best thing to have for a recruiter and for you as well. And in the single page resume as well, people usually prefer a single column resume as well. But yeah, in single column resume definitely it is difficult to add most of your skills, because usually nowadays people have a lot of work experience, a lot of achievements. So yeah, I can go with a double column resume as well. But yeah, definitely at the top of your resume, try to write your work experience only, because that is the most important thing for any recruiter or any person working in a software engineering company. They try to look for your work experience, previous work experience. So if you don't have a full-time work experience, like in my case, because I was just a college graduate, so you just write your internship experiences, etc. And should be one section of projects, and one section of your achievements, and one section definitely of your education as well, like how much CGPA you got, in which college you were studying, and even before the college time in 12th class, what kind of grade you got. These are the most important sections. One is your work experience, one is your education, one is your projects, one is your achievements. So I think that will cover most of your experiences in software engineering. Yeah.
So and now the last question that I have from my side is that let's suppose someone is just starting. Let's suppose like you started from the beginning of second year, and someone is starting from let's say in final year or in third year perhaps. So what do you think that how much time he or she should devote so that he could be good at competitive programming and data structure part? Let's suppose that he is already aware of the any particular programming language.
I have seen people get better in competitive programming in a very small amount of time as well, like about half a year. They became as good as me, or like they became candidate master on code forces from just specialist or even lower rating. So so it depends on your dedication. Like when you're doing competitive programming and you're trying to improve your ratings on coding platforms like code forces, then definitely you should practice difficult questions on your own, And again, the formula is kind of similar. Like, if you're not able to solve the problem, then look into the solution and try to implement it on your own, and next time you get a question, then you should be able to solve it, or even a question related to that problem, then you should be able to solve it. In that way you are going to improve. And in code forces there are problems of different ratings. Like in contests you get problems of level A, B, C, D. So if you are able to solve problems till, let's say, C, then definitely try to upsolve the D problem. Like, next time in the contest you should be able to solve the D problem. So in that way, gradually your performance will increase. So so it's about, incrementing the level of questions from what you know. So if you are able to solve a problem of rating, let's say 1600 to 1700, if you are comfortable with that, then try to go with a problem of higher rating, like 1800 or 1900.
So this was all from my side, and thank you so much. Thanks a lot, Rishabh, for being here. Now, if you guys have any doubt or any question in your mind that you want to ask him, then make sure to drop a comment in the comment section. And it was just a pleasure to have you here. And I'm really sure that this video will help you a lot to get sort of idea that how you can start your preparation. And obviously, at the last, it's all about your dedication and devotion. That how much hard work you're gonna do for your aim that you have planned for. So this is it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Keep learning, guys. Keep coding. Bye bye.